Get full episodes of The Damage Report as a podcast on iTunes and Android, and you can watch the live show every weekday on YouTube TV. Mississippi Republican Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith is facing a runoff against the Democrat. The Democrat is Mike Espy. This runoff is going to happen on November 27th, and it happened because neither she nor Espy received more than 50% of the vote total on November 6th. Now, Mike Espy is both a Democrat, also African American. It might seem weird to mention that, but it becomes relevant when you listen to one of her recent comments from over the weekend, which you'll hear right here. It was hard to hear that because a train show was scheduled next door, but you saw there, she was talking to this man. She's like, if he had a public hanging, I'd be in the front row. A public hanging in Mississippi.
That's the new, right, there's been.
So like, okay, she said public hanging. Thank you for cloaking it slightly. You meant lynching, and you're running against a black man in a runoff election.
That's the new thing, at least this election. No, it's not this, just not this past season, the election season. It's just the new thing, maybe the past like 10 years. Say something just wildly racist, but completely out of context, just randomly say something racist, like monkey this up, and then have a ton of people, because it was just random, say, like, defend you and say that you meant something else, that it wasn't racist.
There's like a whole cottage industry of dog whistle defenders.
Yeah.
Like your whole job, and really, like they seem to want, maybe it's just subconscious, I don't know, but the monkeyed up, the cotton picking, whatever. It's like they feel like they need to send these signals to the racists to reassure them, no, we are on your side. But the thing is, like, do you guys not get that you have their vote? They're not gonna vote for the Democrat. Especially if he's black.
That's the thing though, I think that people have to stop. So it's like what a racist looks like and acts like, we have to change that. We have to break our thinking of that. So it's like, if you see like one of David Duke's followers, you're like, oh, well, obviously. Like he owns a restaurant in some area in the South, you're like, obviously. But for a senator who says this, it's hard for a lot of people to rationalize that she is that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And so maybe this is not even really about someone trying to rally their troops as much as someone just expressing who they really are. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they are the troops.
Exactly, yeah. Like she's running for Senate, sure, okay, but 10 years ago she was running for something else. Like, it's like if you can look out there and see that there are random racists, some of them get elevated through the party ranks.
A lot of them do, which is why it's systemic.
Yeah, and so I want to read Mike Espy's response. He says, Cindy Hyde-Smith's comments are reprehensible. They have no place in our political discourse in Mississippi or our country. We need leaders, not dividers, and her words show that she lacks the understanding and judgment to represent the people of our state, which is a really nice, reasonable response considering that she's talking about going to a lynching. So Mike Espy being very professional there. By the way, Cindy Hyde-Smith she's a Republican. She was a Democrat up until 2010 when she switched parties. She was already in elected office and she swapped over. She says because of her conservative values. I think we're seeing some of them on display right now. So like she was less than a decade ago, she was a Democrat.
Right, it's totally coincidence that the woman who accidentally said something racist switched her whole lifetime party commitment when the black man was in the highest office in our land.
It's 2 years after, yeah.
I mean, it's not like we didn't see that happen a lot everywhere.
Yeah, and think about.
It's total coincidence, because obviously she didn't mean to say this, she didn't mean it like that. We're taking it the wrong way, it's us, obviously.
We're being really unfair right now.
But you know that like President Obama getting elected, it just kind of kicked off Reconstruction again, this new version of it. This, oh no, never again kind of feeling, where there was so much progression, but there also was so much disgust and anger.
Yeah.
And irrational at that.
Well, and also,
and that's part of why we are where we are now.
And we're right now, we're waiting for the final results of a couple of important close races, governor's races in Florida and Georgia, and then the Senate race in Florida as well. And so those were some of the races that were really ground zero for racism.
Right.
As a unifying campaign tactic, that white nationalism is what we're organizing on. Forget the tax cuts, that didn't really work out. We don't have anything else. It's all xenophobia and racism with a little bit of misogyny occasionally. And I was hoping that that would be repudiated. But overall, I mean, look, maybe the Democrats will win in 1 or 2 of these races that are still waiting to be called. But Amar Campanajjar was beaten by an explicitly Islamophobic campaign in California. Steve King won, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. And after Ron DeSantis said all of the crazy racist things that he said, she suddenly feels like after the election, after watching everything that happened, in advance of her runoff, I have to do this. I have to make a joke about a lynching in Mississippi.
No, but it's not that I have to do this. It's that, oh my goodness, I can be myself. I think it's more that than it is, I really need to win to do this. It's like, oh, I won't lose if I'm open and honest about who I am.
Yeah, I guess I mean,
that's where we are now, and I think the president has kind of led the way. And I think I've said this before that we used to be in this space. Racists have always existed, but for a little bit, we were largely in this space where they were quiet, and not in their actions, but just in like in public. People weren't saying stuff out loud on TV with these high-profile jobs like they are now for fear of they were making behind the scenes decisions, terrible decisions that affected people of color everywhere, but not so much. There was like one type of person that would go, be in front of cameras and say something like that. But now it's everybody, and I don't think it's because it's like, this political strategy, like, oh, now I'm gonna be like that. I think it's that the president started doing it, and so now you realize that it doesn't hurt if you can not hold it in anymore.
So yes, I think that he is making it seem more acceptable, but I also wonder, like, in terms of saying it on TV, they didn't used to have Fox News. Now they have Fox News so they can do it. And in terms of like you just saw that video of Cindy Hyde-Smith, do we know that pre-cell phone cameras that stuff wasn't getting said all the time? We just didn't have access to it. If you didn't go to the rally, there wouldn't be any video evidence of it. I wonder. And obviously racism has been around since before America was a country, but it is more openly accepted in a lot of different ways than I think we've seen before. Thank you very much for watching this clip from The Damage Report. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell on YouTube to get notifications of our new videos. And of course, you can catch the full Damage Report live every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on TYT Network on YouTube TV.